the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 60 years when she bare him. And that's a depiction of when they came out of their mother's womb. Jacob was holding the heel of Esau. So as it's going to be in the day of our recovery, we're still holding the heel of Esau, and we're taking him from his position. You have to keep in mind, Jacob was a wrestler. He wrestled an angel. So how much more so now, Jacob is going to overcome Esau Edom, is what that depicted. First of all, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Brakat Yahweh, Brakat Yahweh Shah, Brakat Yahweh, Brakat Yahweh Shah, Brakat Yahweh, Brakat Yahweh Shah, the water, the bar, called Dash. I'd like to give double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, teaches truth, which you know is 100% truth. Shalaki, I was in here sweating a little bit when I did a little quick workout and sat in the sauna for a bit, try to do some sweating. But yeah, we have to remember, man, Jacob, we always been up under Esau Edom, man. And when he came over here, not I say always, but when we came over here, we've been under his foot, man, under his heel. Especially Judah. Let me see if I can find that. Judah. Shalaka for this. Kind of going through the spirit right now. Shit. I don't see that scripture, but yeah, we in a time, man. I was seeing a brother video, this guy's video. He was talking about anybody that travel. He travels, and he noticed these other nations, Esau, Edom. When they come across Jake, they're surprised how Jake reacts. I'm talking about Jake. I'm talking about you so-called Black, Hispanics, Native American. But right now, I'm really kind of talking about the Southern Kingdom. You so-called blacks, man. So-called blacks. We're many derivatives of brown. We're not black. But he said how he noticed when he come in encounters with Esau, Edom. Like say they have these other nations. They're surprised how Jake respond and react to him. Jake, stands up. Most of the time you see these fighting on, people get into fighting overseas in some of these places. You find a lot of Jakes, going toe to toe, usually dominating these Esau Edom, kicking the ass pretty much, so to speak, Shalakia. But yeah, you made a good point, and I thought about it because I travel myself, and I see and I notice a lot of these other nations, if Esau, especially Esau Edom, man, they're very cocky, especially when it comes to dealing with Jake, and the Arabs too, because they're used to dealing with other melanated, brown skinned people, which are not Jake, man. Them Hamites. Them Hamites are not us. And they have been defeated for so long, by Esau Edom. But he said, brother, like the brother was saying, Jacob has a different spirit about him. Damn, it's like a mug. But Jake has a different spirit about him. Jake don't take that shit. Jake usually put Esau in check. And Jake always had that spirit in him, especially Judah. Really all the tribes, mainly Judah. Judah's the chief tribe. So, and scripture tells us, man, we always been under Esau Edom since we've been over here in Babylon the Great. And eventually, Jake is going to snap, Jake, you know, Jake has been putting up with some shit. Jake been dealing with a lot of shit, you know, but Jake has always stood up to a certain point to Esau Edom, even though Esau had no unsurmounting forces against Jake, you know, because he, you know, he controls the government. He is the government. You know, he controls the weapons, food, everything that we have. So we have to depend on him for everything what Scripture tells us in Deuteronomy chapter 28. But yeah, Jake is, you know, he always caught hell under Esau, you know, and now he's seeing these things happen in the courts, and all this is orchestrated on top because I really believe a lot of this is a psyop because they're trying to stir up something. They try to stir up Jake, and they try to stir up these Edomites. They definitely want that racial tension, that divide, to create that war. They want that war to jump off because we know how Esau Edom, man, how they do. You know, it's called order out of chaos. You know, they create a chaotic situation out of you know, they create um, their draconian laws. They can bring them in out of chaotic situation. Therefore, they can have authorization to bring in their troops. You know, bring in martial law, put everything on lockdown, and then when people finally realize what's going on, they done laid a whole new system on you, which is going to be the MOTB system, the mark of the beast. Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, is going to be laid down on the people. So they just looking for anything to stir Jake up, man. And Jake is, you know, Jake eventually is going to get to a point where, like I said, where they're going to snap, man. And once they snap, you know, all hell's going to break loose. Esau Edom was already looking for a reason to get at Jake anyhow. You know, he always had that spirit of wanting to go ahead and finish Jake off, you know, because you only either put him back in captivity. And so Lord is stirring that spirit up. It's mainly here in Babylon the Great, man. And Judah, like you said, they have a different, like I said, they have a different spirit about them. Judah only gonna take me so much, man. And let's pull that scripture up. See if I can find it real quick. Ready to drop my ass in the shower. I just want to do this lesson right now through the spirit before I jump in there. That's going to be Genesis chapter 49, verse 9. The book of Genesis chapter 49, verse 9. This off of verse 7. Curse he that anger, for it was fierce, and the wrath, for it was cruel. It will divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel. Judah, thou art whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey, my son, who art gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? So it's telling you right here, man, Judah's gonna rouse up, man. And once he rouses up, the other tribes are gonna rouse up. And all hell is gonna break loose, man. Let's plug that in to ChatGPT and see what it says. See what it kicked back for us. The name Judah comes from the Hebrew root meaning praise. Jacob prophesied that Judah would become a leading tribe among the brethren. This was fulfilled when the kingship came through Judah, beginning with King David, ultimately pointing to the Messiah, which is Yahweh. Thy hand shall be in thy neck of thy enemies. This is a symbol of victory and dominion in ancient warfare. Placing one's hands on the neck of an enemy represented complete conquest and authority over them. So we're going to be at the neck of our enemy. We started off holding Esau to Edom heel, remember. We're not Judah, but Israel, Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. This speaks of leadership, preeminence among the tribes. The royal line would come through Judah, which Yahushua came out of the tribe of Judah. And the other tribes would acknowledge that position. Judah is a lion's whelp. A lion's whelp is a young lion growing into strength. The lion becomes the symbol of Judah, courage, kingship, power, and authority. From the prey, my son, thou art going up. Like a lion returning victorious from the hunt, Judah is portrayed as overcoming his enemies and rising in strength. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, as an old lion, who shall rouse him up. This describes a lion resting confidently after securing victory. No one dares disturb to challenge him. It symbolizes the kingdom established in strength and security. Many connect this prophecy to the Messiah. Revelation chapter 5, verse 5. Behold, the lion is the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed. The lion imagery reaches its fullest expression in the king who comes from Judah. But really right now, Judah is at rest. Judah's kind of laid back. All this shit is going on. And Judah's kind of sit back, parlaying right now. But eventually Judah's going to give in, man. He's going to snap, and all hell's going to break loose, man. Judah's going to get to a point where he's going to say enough is enough. Esau Edom, he's going to go into his mode, and that's going to be a time of Jacob's trouble. I think that's Jeremiah chapter 49, I believe. Let me look. Shalak in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 6. Jeremiah, the book of the prophet Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether, we start from verse 5, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 5. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hand on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. At last, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. But ye shall be saved out of it. How are we going to be saved? Because we're going to have those spiritual gifts, those spiritual powers, man. Things going to be around us that's going to protect us in that time. The elect is going to stand out during that time. The men, women, and children of Israel, the elect only, not the 2/3 going to be destroyed, man. Or a lot of them going to be destroyed. The rest are going to be wiped out when the ICBM missiles hit over here. Verse 8, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, Lord of hosts, that I will break the yoke from thy neck, and I will burst the bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. So we no longer want to be in the bondage, man. After that, Judah's going to raise up, man. It's that lion, that old lion. He's going to get fed up, man, being up under these devils. So Lord wills, let's edify. That's a quick hit. With that, say shalom.